News Weekly. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Batman News Weekly. This is episode 114 in year 3, and we finally have, I'm going to say, some interesting things to talk about this week. But Clay, I want to start off with something maybe a little controversial coming from your boy, Juice. So,
oh no.
I don't
What
know if this,
happened
well,
here?
this is going to be just shocking for people that have been listening for a while. I don't know if today I was just having a blasé day or whatever, but I was just kind of like thinking, and I will say I was reading Robbins when I thought this, and so that could be a factor into this. But I was like, I am not really caring about comics or Batman much lately. And I was like, is writing Batman really in my future? I like genuinely questioned it today.
Wow.
Yeah. And I want to put one, I think I'm genuinely really drained. For anybody that hasn't been keeping up with my YouTube stuff or anything like that, or just my journey of 2021 in general. Majority of my year was, taken over by panic attacks and dealing with anxiety for the first time ever in my life. So that was very draining. And just fighting back to get back to that, like I'm just now, I would say I'm like 90% back to normal. I still have bad days and good days. Like even yesterday I went to a funeral for a friend's father, and like when I went into the funeral home, I was like I had to like take a really deep breath because I was like, oh fuck, I haven't been in a situation like this like prior to the panic attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like every time I experience something for the first time post panic attack, it's always weird. But I composed myself and got through it. But anyways, my last like month or so, I've just been really grinding on YouTube, like running 2 channels, trying to make it work, trying to learn this, trying to figure things out, all that jazz. And I was just like, fuck, man. I was like, I don't know if I'm just like drained from working or what, but just thinking about Batman, I was like, when the fuck am I ever going to have time to write? Like, that's just the way I was thinking. And of course, I'm also like thinking about like my own projects and shit like that too. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know, man. I think obviously I still love Batman. I just I feel like I haven't read fucking anything good from Batman in a really long time. And I feel like that's just like really discouraging.
Well, it brings up the one thing that I was going to bring up to you, because there's one thing that we have done every single year of this podcast, and that is, hey, let's rank our top 10 stories of Batman. I was thinking about it, and I mean, it's already a big enough hassle to go back and try to look at every single Batman story or Batman related story each and every year. This year is going to be rough.
Yeah, that's usually our Christmas episode around that time. Christmas, New Year's week or whatever. That is going to be really rough. I mean, if anything, we can cut it down to 5 if it's that bad. You know what I mean? Because I mean, there was some Tom King episode. I mean, obviously, I love some Batcat stuff. There was that one Robin issue with the family, which was nice.
So there was also like there's the Batman Adventures Continues, the one with Huntress, where she was like
shit.
where she basically off that dude at the very end.
Yeah. So there's some. We'd have to look at it because, like, again, I mean, I think this is factoring into just my blasé attitude as of today, or just thinking about this. Like, yeah, dude, it just feels like, when was the last time I read something really good from Batman? You know what I mean? It's funny because I can tell you when it comes to Joker was automatically fucking Carpenter's from 2 years ago. Now, 3 Jokers was last year, but I make that as a whole series, you know? And unfortunately,
that was last year. Holy shit.
And unfortunately, the last 2 pages were unnecessary for that book. So I'd say you kind of remember that. But yeah, it was just really weird, man, because we're going to talk about some stuff that's going on with the Batman that I'm not really a big fan of, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know if maybe it's just superheroes in general, because in Discord, if you guys are not following us in Discord, we've been talking about, movies and stuff lately. Clay has brought up, I think we were talking about this last podcast about like, is superhero fatigue finally setting in, and all that jazz. And maybe I'm just there. maybe it's not. Maybe I just need to like take like a break. Although technically we do the podcast, so I'm not gonna take a break from Batman. But maybe I just need to like pull back from superheroes because, dude, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but that fucking Spider-Man trailer, fucking hated it. Hated
The
it.
last one?
Yeah, I hated it. Dude, I couldn't stand the jokes, man. And you know what? And I'll say this for the people that love Spider-Man, the movie's not made for me. And I will accept that. You know, it's made for a younger generation, it's made for kids, but the like making fun of Doc Ock's like name was kind of cheesy, and I was like, okay, whatever. It would have been better if he was actually Spider-Man and did it instead of like, being a group of like teenage kids doing it.
Yeah.
But the Scooby-Doo thing made me turn off the fucking trailer with fucking what's his face. I just turned it off. I was like, I don't give a shit.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, that was the stupidest thing, and I just turned it off. And it's just not for me. But everybody knows that I stopped watching Marvel because of the jokes. I thought it was too much. And I made this comparison in the Discord. That first Spider-Man trailer had me like, I was like, oh, okay, I might actually want to go watch this. The second one completely killed the movie for me. And it's
that is crazy
Squad.
Because people are saying the exact opposite of you.
Really?
The first trailer they said was kind of crap, and the second trailer is what wowed everybody.
Yeah, no. I think the second trailer is because it gave the general audience what they want of like, oh, there's gonna be a lot of crazy shit. You know what I mean? That's what the general audience wants to see. I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? I've seen plenty of superhero fights at this point. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt like Suicide Squad, man. Like where that first David Ayer trailer came out, you were like, oh shit, this looks like it's gonna be dark as hell. And then we got the super poppy one that the general audience loved. That they were just like, oh my god, and then that essentially destroyed the movie.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. I equate them to that because it killed my interest in the movie. I was just like, I don't give a shit anymore. So yeah, dude, I think I am just hitting like superhero fatigue or something. I don't know, but
well, you heard it here first, guys. Batman News Weekly canceled.
No. I mean, it's just we haven't like. I'm glad we get adventures and stuff like that, but I feel like I don't like where Batman is going. I feel like Batman needs to be dialed back, and DC is never gonna do that. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, there's just too much Batman. Like, I would love to keep talking about Batman, but dude, just reading some of the books we've been reading lately, and there's no direction. It's going nowhere. Like, everything's all over the place. The timelines don't matter. I'm just like, why should I even care?
Batman would then have to make money like Bloodsport.
Yeah.
For them to finally be like, maybe Batman's not a good idea anymore.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. Like, it's so weird that you don't. What would be the equivalent to Marvel? Spider-Man, right? That's the equivalent.
For Batman?
Yeah. That's the equivalent because you get Spider-Man every 5 years or whenever. They've rebooted it so many times already. It's ridiculous. I think there's more Spider-Man movies than there are Batman movies, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's insane.
There's 3 Toby, 2 Andrew, and now 3. So there's 8.
Yeah. And then I guess if you were to include all the cameos, it would be even worse.
Yeah, because like Civil War,
yeah,
Infinity War, Age of Ultron,
Endgame.
so 11.
Well, he wasn't in an Endgame that long, but yeah. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's just it's really really crazy. So I just think Batman needs to be dialed back because it's like I just keep thinking about that TikTok that you had sent me that one time of that guy being like, yeah, you guys think a lot, what you read is really good. He was like, but you're not like a comic book fan that has sat through 90% of garbage comics.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God, that's so true. Like, it's so true. Yeah, and it was funny too. Switching shit. I just wanted to make that out there. I could just be having a bad day. I could wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my God, I had this great fucking Batman idea. Because that's usually what happens. When I think of a really good idea that Batman would be in, I'm just like, oh fuck, I gotta write this. But lately my brain just hasn't been on writing. But speaking of TikToks, I saw this interesting TikTok of this like young black creator was talking about how, that same old song and dance about how people only bitch when a creator or when a superhero's turn black and not like, how Bucky took over Captain America's mantle one time or whatever, right? Like the white to white. Do you see that one?
Yeah.
Okay. And but I made a comment because he was like, "Yeah, y'all guys bitch that Batman just became black because of Jace Fox or Tim Fox or whatever." But you didn't mention anything else. And I made a comment. I was like, "I agree with what you're saying, but let's be real. That Tim Fox storyline is fucking garbage." And I was like, "It should have been Duke Thomas and like anybody else, but they just gave it to him." And the guy was like, "Yeah, I totally agree with that." He was like, "But a lot of these people out here just think like, oh, they made him black, so like they're pushing an agenda or whatever." You know what I mean? And I was like, I agree with that. And then somebody else came out of nowhere. It was funny and was all like, it doesn't make sense for Duke to be. Somebody tried to say like it wouldn't have made sense for Duke to be Batman, and I was like, what? I was like,
Excuse me?
yeah, I was like less than Jace being Batman, and they said they're like, cause Signal's cool enough, but they just need to give him a chance. And I was like, whoa. I was like, my thing is though that Jace became fucking Batman when Duke has been trained by Batman. It makes way more sense. He was like, oh yeah, that's true, that's true. And I was just like, whoo. I was like, don't get me started on these comments, TikTok. But yeah, so just some interesting Batman shit that was happening on TikTok. But I guess best segue to Jace, huh? Right now,
Yeah.
because Clay sent me some news that Jace is going to New York, and he is going to be the Batman of New York City. And thoughts, Clay? Like,
I don't know what to think about this. I sent this because I unfortunately my phone is always going off because I'm in way too many group chats with way too many people.
I don't know how you do it, man. I
I
can't be productive with that. Like, it's too
I'm
much.
not. But I did send this to one of my more like better thinking comic book groups, because there's some comic book groups that I'm a part of where they will just take something and completely shit on it just to shit on it. They won't
Yeah.
actually like have any critical thinking towards it.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I guess this is how they fix it. They just retcon the fact that he is 6 years in the future and just move him into a different city and act like nothing happened. And one of them was like, yeah, that makes things perfectly clear. Clear as mud. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's
You
pretty much how everything works out now.
you want to know my instant thought when I saw this? Oh, they're doing this because they don't want the backlash of canceling the Black Batman. That was my instant thought.
Oof.
They don't want the backlash.
But here's
from
the
that.
thing, though. Here's the thing. What if they don't? Because usually you get an announcement of like, this book is canceled, right?
Yeah.
What if they don't even announce it?
And they just cancel it?
Yeah.
They do that with other stuff, usually.
Yeah. And nobody is like none the wiser.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not doing good sales, right? Like, didn't you get that like weird random? Wasn't there like a little blurb of like, oh, this was 2021? Because didn't we see like Tinian was selling like 70,000 at least or something?
Yeah, like we I believe he was sitting at shit. Go back a couple episodes. We did a whole breakdown of what the sales were. I believe for August or September, one of the two. And they're not doing great. I mean, for everybody who was pushing at the fact that like, oh, this is going to change everything for Batman and like this is going to be the new Batman. I even saw somebody say like, oh, this is the same as Marvel's All New, All Different, and I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
And in Marvel's All New, All Different, they took like legacy characters like Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Kamala, Miss Marvel, freaking Totally Awesome Hulk, and all of these other characters, and made them the center point of the Marvel Universe. And it did pretty good. DC trying to do that, I applaud them for trying, but you didn't even set it up. You're just like, oh, boom, this is how it's going to happen. Or boom, it's happening. Like, you can't say, oh, future state is us leading you guys into it. No, future state was a possible future. And then for you to say, oh, it's a possible future, now these writers can now just lead up to that. That's boring. Like, I don't want to know the outcome of your story. Now, Tynan attempted to do that with Fear State, saying, oh, this is actually the turning point. This is the threshold of where Batman is either going to make the future state a reality or
Yeah.
not, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can't do that unless it happens in the story, right? Like the way this might be spoilers for some people, but you've had time to watch the anime. When Deku changes the future, when he saves Erie, right? Or Eri. Like it is set in stone from a character that has never been wrong that like I've seen the future. You're going to die if you do what you're trying to do. And of course Deku being the person he is like I'm going to save this girl.
Yeah.
And he changes the future and the guy's like what the fuck this I've never seen this happen. And so you have to have that built in. Like you have to have some soothsayer come out of nowhere and tell Batman this is the future. You can't change it, and Batman has to have that moment of like, I'm Batman. I'm gonna change it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have that moment. It's like Superman breaking through the universe or whatever in that issue that was the Dragon Ball Z nod, you know?
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be able to do that, and he fucking did it. And that's what made it epic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what you needed to do here. So the way Tynan was trying to sell that just didn't work, in my opinion. But yeah, man, like Jace going one, I just don't. We know New York exists in DC and like Gotham and Metropolis, which are essentially New York ripoffs, but just better, are also in the world. And I would love for somebody to try to draw a United States of America in the DC universe. Like
there has been several maps beforehand. And it's really weird because like basically Metropolis has been like basically like above Washington DC, but below New York City, so around like oddly enough like the Rhode Island
Okay.
like
Because I
area.
feel like every DC city always has a port and a dock because that's where
Yeah.
all the bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, everything's coastal? Like, come on.
And then freaking Gotham is, from what I remember in some majority, is either in replacement of New York City or between New York City and Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I've always heard that's what Gotham City is. It's if New York and Chicago had a baby.
Yeah.
That's what Gotham is. And I don't know if that's like NY people being like, we have the best city, but we need Chicago's crime. You know what I mean? Or some shit like that. Like, but I don't know what the thing is there. But yeah, for the most part, like I don't know. That's just like really weird. And then of course Snyder, we know Zack Snyder was like, oh, Gotham was a opposite side of the ocean to, or not ocean, but river to Metropolis. Like
Yeah.
that's how he set it up. So that was very different map as well. But yeah, man, I just don't like. You don't need two Batmans in America. Like that's just not what you fucking do. You know, because
Well, and this brought more conversations to like, why isn't Batman Incorporated a thing?
Yeah,
Like
technically it is.
It
Still.
is, and like if you would have eased Bruce into learning about Jace,
Yeah,
and then coming to terms with it, and then saying, "Hey, I'm cool with this. Get the fuck out of Gotham."
yeah,
And then incorporate him into Batman Incorporated.
yeah.
Maybe it would have worked out a little bit more. But
Mhm.
they've just convoluted the fuck out of this whole idea of Jace.
Yeah.
I'm not super interested.
No, I don't give a shit at all. It would have been cool. So I made this joke in the Discord that it is canonically proven or canonically said that Bruce Wayne funds Batman. He's not Batman, technically, as he would say, but he funds
Yes.
him because he believes in what he's doing. So Bruce being a businessman, I'm like, he should own the Batman trademark just to get some money back and sue
Jace.
fucking Jace for copyright infringement, is what I said in the Discord. But to your point with saying that Jace, like Batman could have found out about him, you could have done two things. You could have done what you just said, and he's like, get the fuck out of Gotham. It would have been better if Batman like starts having a building point, and you show Jace's like rebellious side, and he's like, I'm Batman, like I'm not going to give this up. And then they end up fighting, and he's all like, you know what? If you're Batman, then you should be able to beat Batman. And they fight each other. Ultimately, you have Bruce win, but you gain his respect. and you'd be like, look, you can't be Batman, but you can be something better. And then have him make his own identity
Yeah.
and giving us a new superhero. Boom, DC. But no, we're just gonna fucking keep him. One, we showed everybody that he's black, but we haven't talked about it in the books at all. And now, even on this new cover for New York, he's still wearing the mask.
Yep.
So I'm like, why? Like, Sears should have like fucking blurted out his identity, but he's gonna have the mask for 6 years. So is the New York timeline gonna be the 6 years that he's gone?
No. Do you know why?
No, I
Because
don't.
of this issue of Batman that we're going to talk about today.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Clay. I read this the moment we got him from our person that gives us the books. I just remember the ending.
So,
Like,
so there, it's a part of the ending,
yeah,
but we will talk about it when we get to
yeah.
it.
Anyway, yeah. All right, that's enough about Jace. Let's go on to something that looks like it could finally bring me some joy in my life that is DC related, and that is they just dropped a game, or they're dropping a game called Multiverse. And this is something we made a joke about on this podcast before, and it turns out to be true. So,
I can't
WB,
believe it's fucking happening.
yeah, and it's going to be free. So, this will be
It,
for everybody to play.
it is cross-platform. So people on the Switch can play with Xbox, they can play with PlayStation, PlayStation can play with Xbox and Switch. It is cross-play and free to play.
Yeah.
Now, I asked free to what extent? Is this
Yeah.
going to be like Brawlhalla, where
You'll pay for characters for sure.
every new character is something you'll have to pay for? Or is this going to be like a la Apex, where everything is free, but hey, I want to get a game pass or a battle pass for online play, and I'll get cosmetics. I'll be able to level up characters. Like, I don't know too far into what they're going to be doing with this. All we do know are the crossplay and free. We also know that there are solo plays and there's 2v2s.
Yeah. And that I believe this is confirmed. Batman is voiced by Kevin Conroy.
Yes, I did post that in the Discord today.
Yeah. So that is going to be pretty cool. Now, I think the best way they should do it is take like a Smash Bros approach where you can buy a pack of all the new characters that are going to come out. That would be really cool. But since you do have characters like Batman and Superman who have in the comics had multiple suits, you should also have cosmetics. So I think that's how you should do it. So you have a mixture of both. Don't make them too pricey because like the graphics
They've
aren't
already
super insane.
shown different costumes.
Oh, really? Well,
yes.
usually since it's 4 players, you have to have at least 4 different costumes for each character.
Yeah.
So
in Superman, for DC characters, for Superman, I saw they had like the Blackest Night costume. So he was a zombie with the black suit. Shaggy, they actually did the God mode Ultra Instinct Shaggy, where he powers up like a Super Saiyan. He has a Bruce Lee costume as well.
That's cool.
He does like the whole like wiping of the nose thing when he stands. Dude, it is hilarious. And there are some pretty big names doing the voices. So the guy that has done the voice of Shaggy, who was Shaggy in the live action movie, he's voicing Shaggy in this game.
Nice.
I don't remember the voice of Arya Stark. She's gonna be in this game.
Oh, nice.
She was one of the players as far as like the video footage of this game.
Yeah, I didn't watch the video that they dropped. I just saw like clips of it, and then I saw the Kevin Conroy thing. But I was like, cool. Like, I'll stream it when it comes out because it's free. So like that should be fun to play, especially with stream. I'm gonna get my ass kicked because these kids in my streams are ridiculous at these games. But like, yeah, it's still gonna be fun to play.
Yeah,
I like the 2v2. That's cool.
I'm not usually big into fighting games anymore. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But for the fact that it is free, it's like, why not?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it should definitely be fun. And like, if they really take it serious, it's all going to come down to the fighting mechanics, right? Like, the fighting mechanics have to be good. Because if they're not good or it's not fun to play, it's going to die so quick.
Yeah.
But, WB has so many characters you can pull from. And then, obviously they're going to keep it kid friendly, but if you have like funny emotes and stuff you can do, like if they drop Thelma, right? Like you got to have her emote of her dropping her glasses and like looking on the ground because
Yeah.
everybody makes fun of that. It's every cosplayer that does it. Like, where are my glasses? And so you can just make funny shit out of that.
The cool thing also is the way that you can play around with the 2v2.
Mhm.
Like Bugs Bunny can burrow a hole in the ground and then come out somewhere else. The other team member can use that hole.
Oh, nice.
Wonder Woman can actually, if a character is falling off the edge of a platform, she can actually use her lasso to
Batman can
pull.
do it too, right? With his grappling hook.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, so it'll
Uh,
be very interesting
yeah,
for
very, very
sure.
cool.
So that is the only video game news we've gotten in a really long time. But it does look cool, and like I said, if you got kids or anything like that, it's gonna be free to play, so you can download it for them. I will definitely be playing it on stream, so definitely go subscribe to my YouTube channel. But moving on to what is probably which is funny, the biggest news of the week, but stuff that I haven't heard talked about. But that's probably because I'm not on all the social medias. So the first one being is it has been not confirmed, but kind of that Batgirl is possibly going to be leading into the Black Canary movie, which I just want to point out. I would have to go research this myself, but I'm pretty sure I said something like this on the podcast about the Batgirl movie should like at least lead into Birds of Prey. So it seems like they're maybe going to do one movie for each woman, and then maybe we're going to get Birds of Prey. Could be the thing.
I think so. I think this is very smart, especially since this is the two properties are both HBO Max originals.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have two movies in the same IP that don't connect, I just think like that is wasted potential.
Yeah.
So for them to do this makes the most sense. I want to see a proper Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah.
Um, I really don't want this to be like, oh, it's Batgirl. Okay, it's Black Canary. Okay, this is gonna lead to a Harley Quinn movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that. Um,
That would be stupid. Yeah. I agree. I think only Harley Quinn movies should spin off of Suicide Squad. Like,
yeah,
honestly. And the thing too is here is get Berlanti fucking away from these movies. Like, I do
yes.
not want this universe to be like the CW. I don't want that at all.
I will say right now that for DC Alliance next week, for the next 5 weeks, we are reviewing the giant, massive crossover event that they're having, which is
Yeah.
just 5 episodes of The Flash that have guest stars, and it's
Yeah.
all one continuous story. Um, I did not miss the CW at
No.
all as far as these superhero shows. Now, I say that, but I'm still watching Superman and Lois, but Superman and Lois feels and looks and sounds and the storytelling is all different from what
Yeah.
CW is usually doing.
Mhm.
So I almost move that separately. Flash, my God.
Unbearable.
Please don't make Black Canary or freaking Batgirl like that. Please, for the love of
Yeah.
God.
I'm hoping not. I mean, they got the Bad Boys directors.
Yeah.
So like I'm hoping they're gonna take it like real serious and whatnot. I will say, although Blue Beetle sounds like it's gonna be fucking dope. I was
Yeah,
gonna
it
say, I
is.
feel like they but here's the thing. So we talked about this in the Discord because I saw this on a TikTok. Did CW finally make something worse than We Are the Flash with the Supergirl clip of "Don't touch me, you don't have my consent" line?
They did. It
Yeah.
is a real thing. And a friend sent it to me. And he said right before he sent it, he said, Clay, I'm sorry about this. And he sent me the video. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, like that you cannot don't get me wrong. The sentiment of what that line means is very important in a real
Yes.
life setting.
100%.
Putting that there very awkwardly, almost knowing what your reception is on the CW anyway,
Mhm.
very poor choice in the script writing.
Yeah.
Very poor choice.
I just I don't get it, man. Like that was when I saw it was like as an actor, right? I get it. You're getting paid to do a job. But like Clay knows me. I'm not the kind of person that lays down and doesn't give my opinion on something. So I don't see how I could say that. Like, I get it as maybe, I mean, obviously we're men, so we have different perspectives than women do. But there has to be women out there that just think that was fucking awful. Like,
Well, no, like what is the context? Of course, because when you watch the show,
yeah.
this is a CGI character doing it.
Mhm.
And what are they doing? It is a white Martian jumping up to the character of, oh shoot, what was her name?
It's just a sister. I just know it's the
Yeah,
sister.
I think her name's Sarah.
Okay, I
Um,
don't know.
but she's like, or the white Martian is like scratching at her or
Yeah.
clawing at
It's
her.
a fight.
It's a fight.
Yeah.
So it is not intentionally trying to grope or do anything sexualizing
Yeah.
this character. And her first response to a claw at her face is, "Don't touch me without consent."
Yeah. Like,
Oof.
and that's what somebody in the Discord said, was that context wise, We Are the Flash makes more sense than this line. Because because it was it was supposed to be an emotional moment between Iris and Barry when he's dealing with some issues, right? And she's like, we handle this together. We are the Flash, which killed the show for so many people, which is fine, hilarious. Which if I'm not mistaken, the actress that plays Iris hated it, didn't she?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's crazy. But here, like, you're in a fight. Like, what do you expect? Like, you could also, the White Martian could say the same thing. Like, you're shooting at me. Like, what the hell? Like, how do I not have the right to defend myself? Like, on your planet, in America, you guys have so many rules that allow people to defend themselves. So do not give me this consent bullshit. Like, what the fuck? Like, oh, dude, when I
Oh,
saw the clip,
shit.
I was like, I I do not know how YouTubers fucking do this anymore. Like, I'm glad I got out of Gotham when I did, and I know a lot of people say I shit on Gotham and everything. Dude, Flash and CW, I'll give you this. Gotham was better to watch than some of these CW shows in these later seasons that I no longer cover.
Yeah.
Because God, they're awful. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys are still struggling through these shows, how? I Do you do drugs before them? Are they funny? Like, what? You got to let me know in the comment section because I don't see it. Do you still have that group chat where you had that one guy that loved everything? Like nothing was ever bad?
I have not talked to him in a couple months.
Yeah.
I don't know if he watches any of the CW stuff, to be honest. I
Yeah.
would like to know if he does.
He was
And
more the comic book guy, right? Like
yeah,
he
he
liked
was
everything
big
that,
comics guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. I mean, again, I'm not gonna knock people for liking things, but I just want to know how and why. How can you do it? Like, it's just insane. But moving on to, I'm gonna leave this to Clay to tell me if this was the most talked about thing of the week. But it is rumored, or Clay tells me possibly confirmed, that the Joker is going to be in the Batman, and we possibly have an actor for this as well.
Yes. So excuse me while I am making some notes over here. That's why I sound, far away. Okay. So, by the way, I'm actually sending you live on this show the sign up for the beta for Multiverse.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
so, just saw that there was a link, so I went ahead and sent it to you. So this is very, very interesting. We had kind of been hearing some teases about this guy named Barry. Let's see his last name.
I
Barry
had never heard of him.
Kyogan or Kyohan. He is one of the actors from the Eternals. Uh, he plays Druig in the Eternals. Uh, he's the one that can control people with his mind. So he is rumored to be in the Batman movie.
Mhm.
And there are some stills of him on set alongside Robert Pattinson. That's what makes this interesting.
Yeah.
Now, in a couple tweets today, especially because yesterday was a third screening of the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And it says here Barry Keoghan isn't in the last two screenings of the Batman, but he was in here on the third. And then in later reports, somebody said directly Barry Keoghan is reportedly in the latest cut of the Batman as the Joker, confirms Daniel RPK.
Okay.
Though there is no word on how he factors into the film. So, if there are no words on how he factors into the film, I have a theory
Okay.
because a lot of the characters are at play, and I want to know how you feel about Matt Reeves doing this. What if Matt Reeves, with the exception of the Phantasm, takes the Phantasm route as far as Joker?
I'd hate it because
Really?
I don't want Phantasm's story to be ruined without Phantasm. You know what I mean?
Right, because then you would have to ask yourself who would be involved in that story for us to be connected to whoever
Yeah.
enough for Joker to just be like, "Hey, I'm here," or Joe Chill, or yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So that's one theory that I have. Me and my co-host for DC Alliance were kind of talking about this. I think, unfortunately, and you may disagree with this, we haven't really talked about it. I think Joker in this movie,
Yeah, this
in this
moving. He's moving.
Joker in this movie could quite possibly kill the conversation about this movie.
Explain. What do you mean?
I think uh I don't think Matt Reeves is the kind of person, almost like an a la Christopher Nolan,
Mm-hmm.
to make post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
So I think if he were to show Joker, it would be in the last minutes of the film,
Mm-hmm.
technically in the film. Uh, I would assume that we see Joker or hint at Joker at the very last minute,
Yeah.
and then just because it's literally the last thing you see on screen, I think that's the only thing people will talk about within the first 24 hours of the movie.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's funny that this came out because if you guys do not come to the live streams, one, what are you doing? Go subscribe to Juice from the Box on YouTube because during the live stream is the best place to talk to me. Well, a la live. And we had this conversation. Somebody asked me, Juice, I don't know why we were talking about Batman movies or what the case is, but we always get into comics. Like somebody always brings up something about comics. And they were asking about like how do you feel about so and so being in a movie or whatever, and I was like, I think they brought up Joker. We'll just assume that they brought up Joker, and I was like, I hate it. I hate it. I do not want Joker to be in every fucking Batman trilogy. I just don't want it. I don't know if I said it on this playlist, but I said it on this podcast, but I said it on my live stream. The way I would do, like if I was directing Batman and I was going to do a trilogy, Joker would not be in the trilogy. And I understand people would be like, what, you're just losing out on bajillions of dollars. Well, of course. But I also know that people are going to watch a Batman movie because it's fucking Batman. And if you make a great character, you're losing out on the options to create, I should say, give the spotlight to characters. I've always said if I made a Batman movie and I had free reign, my first character would be Dollmaker as a villain because I think you can make it
Yeah.
horror. He has a goon. If you want sex appeal, he has a sexy, crazy doll nurse lady that you could have on the team. Like it's just crazy. Like you could make a really good horror-esque Batman film out of that. And then obviously me being just like a fan favorite of him, Clayface would be in one of the trilogies, and then, you know, somebody else. But honestly, I wouldn't be also doing a realistic fucking Batman movie where you can't do anything crazy like that. But what I would do is if that trilogy is a hit, you come back for a fourth movie that people don't expect and you give people the Joker.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Because you need to give the spot, we need to stop giving the fucking spotlight to all of these characters that we've seen a billion times. Like that's what I'm glad we're getting the HBO movies, and I'm hoping we get Nightwing and all this kind of stuff like that too. because I would love to see Blockbuster in a movie, or I would love to see
Oh
KG
yeah.
Beast, or even Raptor going up against fucking Nightwing. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that would be fucking awesome.
Batgirl's getting Firefly. I'm down with seeing Firefly in a movie. It's also going to be Brendan Fraser. That's a plus. So, like, I am totally down with seeing new characters because I'm tired of the Joker. Like, I love the Joker. He is my favorite villain. I've said this, I think Joker is the most iconic villain in the whole world. The only person that's on his level is Darth Vader. It's the only other villain that is on Joker's level worldwide. Anime fans are gonna be like, no, man, no way, no, fuck out of here. Like, I love anime, but this is worldwide. There are people that don't know anime exists. They think you're cartoons. So, but everybody knows the fucking Joker. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I'm tired of him, man. He needs to go in the Disney vault and stay away for a while and then come back. But we get so much of him.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, stuff like John Carpenter has to come out and make an amazing issue that blows you out of the water to remember how great the Joker is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm tired of it. So when you sent me that,
the dog's got a gun.
Yeah, it's great. It was fucking high tier Joker content. But when you sent me this, man, I'm not gonna lie, my interest dropped a little bit. And that's saying something when it comes to Matt Reeves' Batman. Because I agree with you. I think that's what everybody's going to talk about. That people are going to take their phones out when they go to the second viewing if they don't know this is going to happen. They're going to see this movie again just to see that glimpse of the Joker and have their phone out so they can screenshot it and fucking put it on Twitter or Instagram and be like, oh my God, Joker's in this film, blah, blah, blah. You know, all that kind of shit. And we're going to see it everywhere. And granted, that's great for WB because they only care about the money. So they're like, fuck yeah, people are going to buy extra tickets just to go see this 1 second clip of the Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as like lifelong fans that have done this over and over, I just don't care, man. And like, I was so excited to see this new creepy Riddler character. I don't want him to be overshadowed by the fucking Joker. You know what I mean? I don't want Penguin to be overshadowed by the Joker. I don't want Catwoman to be overshadowed by the Joker. But all of them are going to get shitted on so hard because of this glimpse of the Joker.
Yeah.
And so I've lost some interest in the Batman. Am I still going to watch it? Fuck yes. Am I going to be there night one? Fuck yes. But have I lost some interest? Also yes.
I had the in DC Alliance, I said that this was going to dominate the conversation. My co-host doesn't believe so. He says that if Joker dominates the conversation, then it's going to be a bad Batman movie. And I said that's not true.
Mm-mm.
It's the power of the Joker.
Yeah.
We saw the power of the Joker with Joker, the movie. Like it's the evidence is there. Now
he's like a Spider-Man.
Freaking Riddler can be a badass, awesome, creepy motherfucker in this movie.
Yeah.
But you see that red smile?
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like I said, it's like Spider-Man. When everybody talked about Civil War, what did they talk about? Spider-Man. That moment he grabs the shield and he does the flip, everybody's like, oh my God. And it was amazing. I was there. That whole scene kind of sucked. Not gonna lie. It looks stupid. They're fighting in a fucking open space. It looks dumb. But Spider-Man, everybody remembers him stealing that shield.
Yep.
Because it's dope. It's the first time he's in the MCU. Everybody forgot about Black Panther. Did we forget about that? Remember Black Panther, guys? He was also in the fucking film. Nobody gave a shit about him. Nobody gave a shit about Black Panther until he got his own fucking film. And that's unfortunate. And that is the power of I should say S tier character like Spider-Man. And the Joker is an S tier villain. And he will dominate anything. People talk about the ending of Batman Begins because it was a fucking Joker card. Everybody's like, he's the next, oh, he's gonna be the next movie. And then of course Heath Ledger came out and everybody's like, what the fuck? This guy? Really? And then he blew everybody's fucking pants off.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is bigger than anything else. And I'm sorry, this Riddler can be the most amazing, diabolical Riddler, greatest of all time, and he's still not going to outshine the Joker. And you know what? If that is the case, if people don't even talk about Joker and he's in this film, I will eat my words on this podcast. You can come back and be like, Juice. So everybody's talking about the Riddler. I don't really hear him talking about Joker. I'll be like, you know what? I'm fucking wrong. I can't believe it. I admit it. And I've done it on this podcast before. I love being wrong because you know what? That just means things are changing and people aren't doing the same shit over and over. But for the most part, I've learned that people like to do the same shit over and over. So, yeah, man, that's a little unfortunate. I mean, I don't know why. Why would you save him for the third film? Because you know what? The second film is always like the most anticipated, and it's either the make or break. Like, nobody gave a shit about Bane.
Everybody wants the Empire Strikes Back. Everybody wants that feeling. Everybody wants the like, oh fuck, like Batman may actually lose. Like that's what they want.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. You save Joker for the third film. Like you should be saving Flashpoint for the third Flash film, but no, they're gonna fucking open with it. So, yeah, man, I just don't. I need a win, DC. Like, come on, man. Like, give me a dub. By the way, you want to know something I thought? Do you think that the Spider-Man film, because we know like Electro's in that trailer. Like I saw it's Electro, right? That's the character's name. You think they're trying to make him go like super hard? Because he looks like Shazam there. Not Shazam. He looks like Black Adam. So they're making him seem go pretty like lightning-y, pretty hard.
I think they're overcompensating for the fact that like everybody shit on him in Amazing Spider-Man 2. But somebody brought out a really cool concept. They're like, wait, isn't like because we're still playing the whole game, if Andrew Garfield and Toby are in the movie. Don't you think Andrew Garfield will recognize the fact that he's not blue anymore? And somebody's like, well, the way that this trailer puts it out to be is that these are just from random universes. So it may be another Jamie Foxx Electro, but it just may not be Andrew Garfield's Jamie Foxx Electro. So it's a cool concept, but
I saw somebody do a Minecraft edit of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 when he's trying to catch Gwen, but they replaced it with like a Minecraft dog. But he actually catches the Minecraft dog at the end and it doesn't die. So I don't know why it made me laugh. But I still say Amazing Spider-Man 2, that dude, I remember it. I remember this day because that movie came out around the same time. I think the first Captain America came out.
Yeah.
That's when I started getting really into superhero movies, like hardcore into superhero movies, because I went and did a double feature at the movies. Like I was like, I have nothing to do today. I'm going to go watch Spider-Man and then I'm going to go watch Captain America. And when I saw Spider-Man and fucking what's her name break her neck, I was like, oh! I was like,
back.
Did she break her back? She hits her head, doesn't she?
No,
because he catches her on her stomach and her head hits the ground.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I think she snaps her neck. And I was so amazed by that because realistically, people don't always get the goodbye. Like, and that made it feel so much worse.
Well, that's why you should watch the whole fucking trailer.
I'm not gonna watch it, all right? You fucked me over with that Scooby-Doo joke.
I will go ahead and tell you, at the very end of the trailer, MJ is falling exactly like Gwen.
Yeah? I hope she snaps her neck.
Well, so, everybody's like, oh, what if Andrew gets to save the girl this time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't let Andrew save her. He's gonna fucking break her neck.
Yeah. So, but that's what was cool about Amazing Spider-Man because, you know, it's cool to have people have their last words, but it's so much more powerful when they don't because that's real. You know what I mean? And, like, granted, it's real. It's a spider guy. Like, he shoots webs out of, like, fuck off, okay? Like, come on. You got to believe in some stuff. Every once in a while, throw in some realism in there. It just makes it that much more powerful. And that's what I loved about Andrew Garfield's. And I watched that film just because I was like, I ain't got anything better else to do today. And then I was surprised by it. Yeah. But still, although Electro was hot garbage, I'm not going to lie. But that scene is what I remember from those movies. Besides, like, didn't the first one have like Spider-Man graphics? I've never seen that one. The first one with Andrew Garfield.
Amazing Spider-Man one.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the trailer for the first time. I was like, "Are these PlayStation 1 graphics? Like, what the fuck? Like, the CGI was bad." And I never watched it because it was like the Lizard, right? I never saw it.
No, but
It's
it's
kind
really
of like
funny.
Thor.
It's really funny
Shoot.
because it's very clear that in this trailer, the one thing that I mean, you missed a whole lot,
No, I
but
saw. Are you talking about where he gets punched,
yeah,
invisibly punched? Yes,
punched
I
or
saw that.
kicked or whatever, and everybody's
Yeah,
like, "Oh shit, it's John Cena!"
yeah.
People have
So
already have put John Cena's head on top of Andrew
yeah.
Garfield's body.
So I didn't. I turned the trailer off when he did the Scooby Doo stuff, but it's all over TikTok, you know. So
Yeah,
I've
yeah, yeah,
seen
yeah.
the other clips and shit. So I've seen the trailer without seeing it, but I just
Yeah.
couldn't get past that. So I was like, fuck it. But anyways, Joker stuff, entertainment news. That's all we got. We do have a viewer question from Red Hood coming in. I love that their comment started off with, "I liked Imposter number 1, but number 2 can go die." That's how they started off their
Oh
comments. So they
fuck.
also fucking hated Imposter too. Hated how they treated Alfred and Bruce's backstory is why they hated it.
Okay.
But going into this questions, he does ask, I already think I know Juice's answer, but what is your favorite Batman run? That's one thing they suggest. I don't know if you have a favorite Batman run. They also ask, what issue did you start with when you started reading Batman Monthly? So I don't know. I that's when I met Clay. I think I know Clay's. And then as we all know, Joshua Williamson will be taking over Batman as a writer, but if you could choose, you can't pick yourself, who would you pick to be the next Batman writer? So the first two questions
Oof.
we can answer pretty quickly. I think overall, I love Tom King's, but like, well, I don't know. If I'm comparing King to Snyder, I I think King has a stronger story because if you cut off Batman's story right when he stops becoming Batman, I think Snyder has a great case.
Mhm.
But the Gordon Batman stuff was kind of garbage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a little bit to King on my favorite run. But if I'm being serious, I think all-time favorite Batman writer, which that's not even a part of this, is probably Loeb because he has some of my favorite stories.
He probably has some of my favorite stories as well in Batman Superman.
Yeah.
Because he also wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite Batman run, because the only run that I've only read 2 runs fully,
Yeah.
and that is Snyder and King.
Mm-hmm.
I was more emotionally invested in King's run.
Yeah.
But I will say, just for like the overall like feeling like I'm reading Batman become Batman,
Yeah. Oh,
was
Snyder,
Scott Snyder.
for sure.
And I feel like that was like that in a weird way, like if Batman was never if Scott Snyder created Batman with that run,
Yeah.
like I could believe it. And
Yeah.
and I think that's really really good for what that run does. So I would
Yeah.
say that.
I think Snyder had the benefit of him being the first writer in a new like era, which was the
Mhm.
new 52. So he had that benefit. King had to feed off of it, and King actually tried to feed off of Snyder's stuff.
Yeah.
But then he realized he was like, dude, I'm just trying to be like Scott Snyder. I'm not being myself. And that's why you see his run change after like the first arc, which is very interesting. But yeah, I'd agree with you. If it was like start of a run, I think Snyder's definitely better. But you started reading
I started
Batman
reading monthly
during
with
King's
King.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember
Because
going into the shop and we would talk about it.
yeah.
So
I was only reading it to keep up with like customers and everything else,
yeah,
to keep up conversation, to be able to sell stuff.
yeah,
Um but then I honestly didn't read Batman
mhm,
until the wedding,
yeah,
until that 50th or yeah, issue 50, and so I had to
mhm,
catch up on everything. Which I did pretty easily because of Comixology sales and everything else.
yeah.
So that was when I started reading monthly. As far as who would I want to write the new Batman, I think if I were to choose, hey, I don't want to go with the obvious.
Mhm,
I'm not going to choose Tom Taylor.
mm.
Because I think we already have too many Tom Taylor isms in comic book writing right now. Um,
He also didn't. He's not doing great on Batman Dark Detective, in my opinion.
oh
The
yeah,
detective.
the detective, yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing great there, and I do think he is kind of limited. And I mean, that's his
Yeah.
original pitch, so I don't know why he feels limited
Yeah.
in that kind of story. Anyway, um, I would have to say
He also makes Batman a Superman, so
that is true.
so he would get first issue he uses the platinum kryptonite. Ah.
I would say the current Power Rangers writer, which is Ryan Parrott. Ryan Parrott is quite possibly one of my favorite indie writers in writing Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers.
Mhm.
Really, really cool stuff going on in there. I was going to say Kyle Higgins, but he's technically already written for Batman before.
Mhm.
Um, but I would choose Ryan Parrott for sure because I don't think he's written for the big two. So I would
Gotcha.
like to see him take a shot at Batman.
Just to stay consistent on this podcast, Cami Garcia. I would still love to see
Oh
her.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I completely
Um,
forgot about that. Yeah.
I would, but if I had my dream pick, Ed Brubaker. So that would be my dream pick. I think Cammy can kill it, although she didn't stick the landing, in my opinion. I thought there
Yeah.
was going to be another issue, and it just ended. I was
Yeah.
like, all right. But the ride to that final issue was fucking phenomenal.
Was solid. Yeah.
And so I would love to see Cammy do it. I've always been wanting to see a woman write Batman, and granted, we have one on Detective, but I want to see the main title because I feel Detective is the little brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, they get the second controller when there's not even a second player. Like, that's Detective. And like, I want somebody to be player one. You know what I mean?
And
So,
Tamaki is like a 50-50. She
yeah,
sometimes does really, really good, and there's sometimes where it just doesn't hit it for us. So,
yeah,
but I think she's doing a pretty good job for what she has.
for sure, for sure. But yeah, Ed Brubaker, because that Catwoman run and some of the other stories he's done is amazing. Although I would not be against the person that is writing Lonely City right now either, because that
Oh, that's
story
true.
was fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
And we still got
When are
more
we getting
issues.
that second issue? Is it next week?
I've already looked at the new books, and I don't think we have it yet.
Damn it.
We have, I think, another Catwoman coming up,
Okay.
and then like the Detective. But I don't think because I'm keeping my eye out for Batman. Although I did notice that we get another Human Target soon, but they labeled it as issue 1, which was weird. So that was odd. But yeah, there are picks for that. So I appreciate that. Of course, if you guys do not know where to submit questions for the podcast, go over to the Batman News Weekly YouTube channel. Just leave a comment with your question, and you'll more than likely be on the next show because, like I said, lately we haven't had a lot to talk about, so we take as many questions as possible. But yeah, there you go. We are going to now move into comic books. And let's start off with Robins. So did you finish reading this? Clay told me, he was like, dude, I'm on page 10 and I want to stop.
I
So,
did finish this.
okay.
So
So this was the winner, right? Of that
Yes.
contest that, what did it beat out? Blue Beetle?
It beat out Green Lantern.
Oh, okay.
Oh no! It did beat out Blue Beetle because it was Blue Beetle and Green Lantern who were facing each other,
Mhm.
and I was like, it doesn't really matter who's the winner here because at this point they're both Latinos because it was a Kyle Rayner story
Oh,
for the
nice.
Green Lantern. So I'm like, hey, either one is
Yeah.
good for me. And then the winner was Blue Beetle, and I'm like, oh shit, Blue Beetle versus Robin. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And everywhere, Instagram, DC Universe, and on Twitter, Blue Beetle was winning. And then at the
Mhm.
last minute, somehow Robin got like fucking 50 million votes. And they're
Yeah.
like,
I wonder how
Robin
that happened.
wins. Look, Robin wins the
Yeah.
round robin. I was like, oh,
Oh.
you fuckers, you did that on purpose because you
Yeah.
wanted Robin to win the round robin.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look. I mean, I've had my own things when it comes to DC and contests and knowing that they pick their winners in advance and they don't even care about who gets to the fucking finals. So I'm just gonna say, does not surprise me, fuckers.
It's fucking
Um,
shit, man.
but yeah, I could have saw the Robbins thing going from the fucking, it's fucking issue 1. That's like those stupid things of like, who's the most popular? Batman versus, it's like, you have Batman in the it's over. It's over. Like, what did they do that one thing? Didn't they put like Batman versus Superman and like for the first round? They didn't even let him get to the
Yeah.
finals. Like, why are you gonna do that? Like, at least let Superman make it to the finals. Like, holy shit. Nope, I eliminated like first round or two. Like, so dumb. Wasn't it? Like, it was probably like Batman versus like another Batman. I feel like that's how this shit goes all the time. So dumb. Anyways, yeah, Robins. This I feel you. This is when I started thinking about not wanting to write for Batman anymore.
So do you know why I wanted to stop?
What? The first few pages that were like written stupidly?
Red Hood kills somebody in front of every single Robin, and they're like, "Oh, Red Hood, we're gonna have some words later."
Yeah, that was a big issue. Yeah.
Like, what?
Like, nonchalantly kill somebody.
He's just like, "Oh, there's a bomb. How are we gonna save everybody? Oh, we're just gonna throw this person on top of it."
Yeah. I was just like, because I did do a double take, because a couple pages later he's holding somebody that looks like the same person wearing the same clothes, but it was a cult, so they're all kind of wearing the same thing.
And then somebody says, "Oh, what about this person?" And he goes, "Oh, there's too many pieces to really gather him up."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
And all the other Robins are like chill as fuck. And if it was Batman, Red Hood would got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
We've seen it happen. Like, that was when I started buying the Red Hood comic book, when Batman beat the shit out of him. I was like, oh, I want to see where this story's going to go. I was like, this is awesome. Because he breaks the helmet and everything. He was like, get out of Gotham. Like, you're not part of this family anymore. I was like, what? Like, that was awesome. Granted, the run after that was kind of lame, but still, like, it was a cool concept. But yeah, nonchalantly, everybody's kind of chill with it. And I'm like, bro, just make Red Hood a villain or stop with this kind of shit. Because in another run right now, he's given up guns. So when does this happen? Like...
And it is in continuity because they make the comment about Drake being the Drake.
Yeah. So yeah, I get they were trying to go with the funsy, cutesy thing here, like, oh, you know, bantering with all the Robins. And so which again, this doesn't make sense to me, and it's what's killing me as a comic book fan. Was that anarchy or just groupies of anarchy? Because anarchy's dead.
I think it's groupies of anarchy.
Okay. So yeah, so that's a thing. They don't really make that clear, but I mean, is it 6 years in the future? Is it 6 years in the past? Don't really know, because that happened in the Batman, or I Am Batman, or whatever. So I don't know. But anyways, anarchy type people are here. They're gonna blow some shit up. But of course, the Bat people saved the day. And the next morning, this book started off with like some philosophical bullshit about birds kicking a bird out of the nest. I guess this is a nature thing. I don't know, so I'm assuming it is. And there's somebody that catches this baby bird, which I'm like, that's nice, and then blows all the rest of the birds to hell for kicking this bird out.
With a fucking grenade. And let me just tell you, the last panel on the very first page, where you see the person's face, looks like Dan Mora's art.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
And I was like, I want more of, like, I saw the first page, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Like, this art looks great. And then I see the pages of everything else, and it's shit. Yeah.
So there's this weird villain we get introduced to right away that blows up a tree with a grenade. And then we get, you know, Jason Todd killing somebody. And then everybody, Dick Grayson seems like he's going to deal with what just happened with the whole death thing. He was like, no, we've said we would do this, and this is the first time we've all been together. So then they're all at Dick Grayson's non-air-conditioned apartment, which he's a billionaire now, and the house he has in Nightwing seems pretty fucking sweet. I would live there.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't have AC, he's a terrible pet owner now, because that pet is in a fucking non-AC'd apartment. Like, that's pretty fucked up. He's only got 3 legs, Dick Grayson. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense. So they're over here trying to eat cereal out of these little boxes, which I have some of those here for my niece. I eat those all the time. So that was a score. But like, they're having breakfast essentially with the murderous Red Hood nonchalantly sitting with them. And they have a discussion of like, Dick Grayson's like, we need to talk about, we've all once been Robin, but what should we have been Robin? Like, essentially, like, was it a good idea? And they start all reminiscing about why they became Robin. Dick Grayson says he was like, I don't even remember if this was my idea or Batman's idea, which I kind of like. I thought that was kind of cool because he is a young kid. And then we have Stephanie talking about, she was like, well, I was, only Robin for 72 days. They make a joke about, well, you were suspended for 3 weeks. So technically it's only like 40 something. And then, we got Dick Damian in this one where he's all like, I was born to be Robin and I'm going to take over the mantle of Batman when my dad dies. So like, oh, that's a fuck, Jesus. Okay. And then, we got Drake talking about, he was like, well, had I, it was my dream, but I've already accomplished my dream. So what do I do now? And then Jason Todd is all like, everybody's waiting for my answer because, I was brought into this and fucking,
I was a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
And if Batman never picked me up, I probably still would have been a criminal. I would have been the baddest criminal where you guys probably would have fought me and shit.
Yeah. And it's just like, make him the criminal then. Like, shit.
I don't get this. Like, I feel like they took some of the worst parts of each of these characters and they're like, hey, let's turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
I didn't like this. It was kind of hard to read, especially with the art. Yeah. And this guy just like, well, I can't remember what happens. They hear something and there's like
a beeper thing goes off saying the Bat computer's down.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, look, it's a Robin, like a real live Robin.
Yeah.
Cool. That's got to be like a good omen, right? And they're like, well, actually, in
certain societies.
In some societies, it is a good omen. In some societies, it's not. Blah, blah, blah. And this is when like this random dude comes in. Damien just like, hey, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I don't know who you are.
One out of all of them.
I don't know who you are, but I'm beating the shit out of you. And are you the AC guy? Why haven't you already fixed it? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And it turns out to be this inmate from Blackgate. But like, I had to reread his dialogue like 6 times because it legit makes no sense. He's just spouting off nonsense. And then they're like, oh, guys, did y'all even notice? That's like our gauntlets. These are all of the very first villains we've ever faced.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, what does any of this mean? What's going on here? And that is when this dude legit just gets shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Like just straight up shot. Everybody freaks out. That's when you see this Robin and they're even like, wait, where's the bird? Does the bird have anything to do with this? And that's when you see it flying out the window, going to this hand, and you see what looks like a Joker Robin?
Gothic Robin. Yeah. That's how I would say it. Yeah. This Robin shops exclusively at Hot Topic. So that's what I think. But her, right? If I'm not mistaken, because that's what it looks like. I don't think it's a boy.
No, it's her.
Yeah. She says, how can there be this meeting of Robins without the first one? Right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. So we've talked about it on this podcast. Okay, one, look, for first things, I don't think this is going to be real, right? It's going to be some crazy person that thought she should have been Robin, or maybe met Batman when she was little and tried to be Robin, and it wasn't really as big as they're going to make it out to be. That's what I think is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be, you can't supersede Dick Grayson. Like, I'm sorry. And we've talked about this on this podcast.
Dick Grayson is going to apologize and say, oh, you should have been the first Robin, but now you can be our Robin.
Yeah, fuck that. So, I mean, because one, like, Cass isn't even there. Like, you might as well bring Orphan in. She's like fucking an honorary Robin as well anyway, so she should be. But also, you have Duke. Where the fuck is Duke? He wore a Robin suit. Not technically a Robin, but he wore like the We Are Robin shit. So, like, yeah, anyways. But we've talked about this on the podcast. We bitched about it when it came to Tynan trying to introduce Ghostmaker as Bruce's longtime best friend. And we know that's bullshit because it's Hush.
Yes.
Like, Hush was there from when he was a child. when his parents were still alive.
Yeah.
And so how can Ghostmaker be this all-time rival best friend when he didn't meet him until they were traveling to be better fucking fighters? Like, doesn't make sense. And so if this Robin writer is trying to do that same shit and making their own Robin to supersede all the other Robins, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. I just don't buy it. I'm interested in the story because I'm like, all right, where is this going to go? I think it's going to be something, just some crazy person that thinks they should have been Robin. But yeah, for the most part, if they try to make this a real thing, like Bruce actually tried to take in somebody before Dick Grayson, then I'm going to be like, no, fuck that. It's dumb.
Because you told me, you're like, wait it out. We need to talk about the ending.
Yeah.
It's at least a talking point. So I was like, fine. And when I saw this, like you said, hot topic Robin, I was like, why is I was like, oh, is it a Joker? And then I read the dialogue and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So I'm intrigued. I will say that. But if it plays out any other way than this just being a crazy person wanting to be Robin, I'm going to hate this book.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, we'll wait and see. Is this going to be an ongoing or is it like a miniseries?
It's a miniseries. It's one of 6, I believe.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll keep up with it until it becomes absolutely unbearable, which, they got me with the last page, but it was rough to get through. I won't lie. It made me question wanting to write for Batman, so that's rough. But moving on to Nightwing, this wasn't great, right? Am I wrong here?
This one wasn't great. I was expecting a little bit more because they left us on such a big cliffhanger for the last one.
It was so nonchalant. And granted, you had to read another book to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. I hate that.
Yeah, and you technically have to read this book before you read Batman. So, I mean...
I didn't do that either. So...
But, like, the big thing here, of course, is the whole thing about Stephanie and Cassandra.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, man, like, I can't believe it. They're dead. And they're, like, moving the rubble. They're bleeding. Like, Tom Taylor has this moment of, like, you feel these characters genuinely, like, losing all hope in the middle of them trying to move all this rubble. And then you hear over the radio, they're like, hey guys, Babs, Barbara, hello. And they're like, where the hell are you? Oh my God. And they're like, down the street? What the fuck's wrong with you guys? Yeah. And then they meet him with like a huge hug. You notice how Tim Drake did not like even go near Stephanie. I was like,
hey, they're trying to keep up that he's bi, okay? That's the way they're gonna show it, all right? He doesn't like girls all the time, so he's got to keep his distance. But yeah, it's so weird, right? Because in the last issue, they see the tower explode. So you got to assume, okay, they're a few blocks away from the tower, right? Like maybe like 10 blocks. We'll just give them that because you can see it in the distance. So by the time they get there, you're saying that Cassie and Stephanie had time to escape the building, it exploded, and they changed into their civilian clothes. And were nonchalant. And I was just like, okay, sure. It was just weird.
I mean, I guess.
It would have been better to have found them, like, at least not injured, but, like, had just escaped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would have been better. But, like, it's like they were getting ice cream or something like that. Like, they looked like they were about to have some fucking grub. I was just like, okay. You know, I mean, that's just being me being a stickler. But the rest of the issue is kind of boring, too, to be honest. Like, they're like, all right, what happened? Like, oh, yeah, it was the seer. They sent the magistrate after y'all and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, we got to get up there because Simon Saint's up there and so is the seer and blah, blah, blah. And so then they beat up some magistrate robots, which had people in them. So I thought the magistrate was robots. But it seemed like they beat up people, right? That were in the suits?
Yeah, so they attack these people on the ground. Mm-hmm. And I thought they were robots as well. But the fact that these are actual people just like changed, like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But they fight
Because they
these.
weren't Peacekeeper ones.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
And just the way their anatomy is, I'm like, those are some really fucking thin arms and really
Yeah.
fucking thin waist. That's weird. But they beat all these people up. They make the joke of like, we're drawing people into dark alleys and beating them up. Like,
Yeah.
this is exactly what we try to prevent on a nightly basis. Like, this is
Yeah.
weird. They're like, circumstances, whatever.
Hmm.
So they take these suits, they go up to the headquarters of where Simon Saint is, where the Seer is, and everything else. And they take off the helmets and they're like, wait, why are you taking off the helmets? That changes everything about stealth. And they're like, oh, so we don't beat the shit out of each other
Yeah.
because everybody else has the exact same suits. This is clearly just to be like, hey, visual aid for all of the readers. These are
Yeah.
the good guys.
Yeah.
But they confront the Seer again, and she's like, oh, I already knew you guys were coming.
Hmm.
Because again, all of these fucking villains need to be one step ahead of all of the heroes now.
Yeah.
And you have these moments of like, you have freaking Orphan being the badass of the group and like being the
Hmm.
most intimidating or whatever. But then we confront Simon Saint. Barbara punches the shit out of him because he's like spatting all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And they essentially take down this fucking floating thing in the sky. And it's really weird because Barbara is like, okay, we got what we needed, but like Seer is still out there.
Yeah.
Like, how are we gonna know when we officially take her down or anything? And no joke, turned the page and I was like, what is Cassie doing out of her suit?
Hmm.
Because I bet you anything, if you take off those green glasses off this person's gonna look exactly like Cassandra.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, this is fucking weird. This is random. But
Yeah.
it's supposed to allude, okay, this is the Seer and she's still out there.
Yeah.
I thought the Seer, legit, from what they have been showing, was just a computer AI.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's just another kid genius that is causing trouble.
Yeah. And this character, the Seer, will come back in Batgirl's #1, which is debuting next month.
Yeah, just another thing we have not been keeping up with because it's been in like 50 different books.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Yeah, the Seer being a random person was kind of annoying. Because we've met so many kid geniuses. Like this new kid genius, I don't give a shit about. You want to know who? Like for once, give me a Batman like character I know about that has turned on the team. That's not Red Hood. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Blue Jay, we know is super smart. Blue Jay could have had a reason to maybe attack everybody. You know what I mean? Like, give me somebody like that. I always thought that they were going to try to do that with Duke. I thought Duke was going to end up like when he took in the new like darkness or whatever. I thought maybe over time he was going to become evil. But like, it's not bad to convert some of these people to being villains. You know what I mean? Like Tom King does it all the time. At least it's a good story when we get it. But like, I don't know. It's just another kid villain that's going to get destroyed. And it's just weird to know now that it's possible that the Seer was just invented for this Batgirls run. And I'm just like, I don't care. You want to know the only thing I thought was interesting out of this whole book? Is the visual aid of that big ass ship being in the harbor. I think it should forever be there in Gotham.
That would
Because
be
how are
cool.
they going to clean that up?
Yeah.
You should just have them build bridges to it, and it's like a restaurant or mall or something after that. Granted, I know it's on the sideways, but just, they can be like, oh, it got converted over time.
Somebody like Oswald Cobblepot, who is, of
Mhm.
course, the Penguin in, like, late at night, his criminal
Yeah.
background, but he tries to save face during the day because he's a well-known name.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would do something like that. He'd be like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to go ahead and purchase this land around this harbor, and we're actually going to take all of this stuff out of this, what would be the idea of destruction of Gotham. We're going to
Yeah.
change. That's how he'll spin it. We're going to change
Mhm.
it into something good and then launder money through it or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, because like so many things happen to Gotham, and it's been rebuilt a billion times. Like
Yeah.
they yeah, I don't know. They know how to rebuild shit in like a day. It's like they have a million flashes. And the flash like this they rebuild Gotham like crazy. But every once in a while with something big that happens like that, just leave something that sticks around. Like we've
Yeah.
seen the fucking penny in Batman's cave like a billion times. But it's just like, yeah, just leave that in the harbor. Because you don't gotta always show it, but it would be cool if like in the distance Batman is fighting and in the very background of the like a panel, you see the big thing sticking out of the harbor. Like I'd be like, oh, I remember that issue. That's cool. Um,
That would be pretty cool.
yeah. But either way, I as I was reading this, I was like, what about Nightwing's sister? Like, that's what got me into this
Well,
fucking story.
and I think the thing is, Nightwing was tied into this whole fear state thing. So
Yeah.
we had to put a pause on all that.
Hmm.
And I think next month for sure we're gonna go back to that.
Yeah. Because that story was interesting. But this has been a Batgirl story the
Yeah.
last two Nightwing issues.
Hmm.
And it's like, if you want to tell a Batgirl story, bring back Batgirl. Like, shit. I know they canceled that book, but damn, just give her like 6 issue miniseries. But
But
now,
she's better as Oracle.
fuck off. I hate those people that say that. But oh, one book we didn't cover because I completely forgot about it. But there was a one shot about the gardener,
I
and
was going to read it because I thought it would like easier like connect
Mhm.
with Batman 17, but they cover everything you need to know in
Yeah.
Batman 17. So it's like, never mind. I'm not gonna
So
read this.
I guess the one thing to get from this is that her and Ivy used to do it essentially, and they had their run into Batman, I think.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and then it ends with Harley Quinn coming into her life and all that jazz and blah blah blah. So it kind of looks like there was a little love triangle going on there. But yeah, there was that. But we're gonna talk about the final James Tynan Batman issue, ladies and gentlemen. The nightmare, the fear state is finally ending. So good way to go out, but Clay, this is fresh in your brain. I read this like 3 weeks ago. So tell me about this book because I remember the ending.
So this book starts off basically where the uh,
Nightwing.
Nightwing issue ends. And it kind of plays out differently in this book, but we kind of get the same gist of things. We get uh, the Bat family stopping Simon Saint, uh, and then we immediately jump to Batman fighting Peacekeeper One.
Yeah.
And the one stupid thing, and like it doesn't even fucking happen the way that Tynan was kind of building it up to be. Uh, Miracle Molly is trying to disarm this bomb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Scarecrow is kind of like trying to get her distracted and shit. And she's like, "Shut up, I'm working." And she knocks him out. And I'm like, "Oh fuck. This is going to be like the thing because the whole point was to keep him awake for him to help her.
Yeah.
And now she fucked herself because she knocked him unconscious."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that is what she meant by saying shit
Yeah.
in this one panel. Then we go ahead and move back to Peacekeeper 1 and Batman fighting more. We then go to Eden, the underground place where Poison Ivy is. She is introduced to her, I guess, good side of
Yeah.
her. Harley is telling her, like, "Oh, look, this is the good side of you, where, this is how exactly you got split into two, and blah, 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 blah. You died, and, we were able to get a seed, and we planted the good part, blah, blah, blah." They become one, and Poison Ivy feels the fear that is going on in Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
She then puts out a pheromone with this flower to ease everybody's mind and calms everybody down. She has
Yeah.
way too much power inside of her that could kill her, so she gives like some of her power to the little girl that was dying
Mm-hmm.
in Eden. Like I was like, "Oh, that's fucking weird. Like you're about to die, so you're saving yourself by saving somebody else." Like that. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, I guess it makes sense." There's a big lesbian kiss between Ivy and Harley. And
Yeah.
I hate some of these moments where you're just like, oh, I guess that makes sense. That's cool. Like Peacekeeper 1 and Batman are fighting,
Mhm.
and they stop for a second. Batman takes off his utility belt and wraps it around his glove. Tell me why the fuck would he do this? He
His
has a fucking gauntlet.
Yeah. Yeah, his knuckles are reinforced with, like, metal.
It doesn't make sense whatsoever, because I didn't even catch that at first, and then
Mhm.
I turned the page and I saw him get knocked the fuck out with, like, I was like, when the fuck did this happen? And I went back and I was like, why the fuck did he take off his belt? That's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. What you could have done there was you could have had his gauntlet get destroyed and have a bare hand, and
Yeah.
that fixes the whole thing.
So Peacekeeper 1 knocked out, and then all of a sudden, here is
Although I
Miracle.
do too, I know we just shitted on it. It looks cool though.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the page looks good.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense for me the first
Yeah,
time
yeah,
around.
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So then we see Miracle Molly with the trigger for the bomb. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
Mhm.
Don't do this to me.
She looks kinda
Like,
hot there though.
no, but just like the idea of like her making this whole big thing and all of a sudden, oh, it makes perfect sense to go along with the villain.
Mhm.
What? Like,
Yeah.
her idea, like what she says here is, she says, I rewired Scarecrow's fear bomb. It's back on its original programming from when it was a mind machine. Now I'm going to set it off and wipe away all of Gotham's trauma, take away the memories of all of this so people can actually start over.
Yeah.
What? Like,
Yeah.
I get the sentiment, but how is that a good idea?
Yeah. Because not everybody has trauma. So you'd be erasing people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was yeah, and then of course we have the Batman taking off his mask to seem more
Well,
sentimental.
okay, so before he does that, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to connect you to the Bat computer,
Oh,
and you're gonna see everything that I see all the time."
yeah.
And
I love how he has a coax cable in his fucking cow. Hey bro, can I get the coax cable? Come on. Can I get the aux cord?
she plugs in, and she sees like all of these news reports. She sees Nakano, that's like pretty much saying, I was an idiot. I like actually like believed in Simon Saint and all of this, blah blah blah. And we see an appearance of Catwoman here.
Mhm.
Then we see the bat signal. This is where they gone and fucked up with freaking Jace, because we
Yeah,
see Jace. They're all like these panels of this one page. We see a panel of Harley. We see a panel of Nightwing. We
spoiler,
see a panel of Spoiler, Jace, and
orphan.
Orphan. Then you turn the page, and the entire Bat family, including Duke and Jace, are all standing in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
How the fuck? Tell me, do any of these people know who he is?
No. Well, I don't know because apparently in Future State,
But that
Nightwing is
is
fought with him.
but that is set in the future state, which is years, not just 6 years, but years after that.
Yeah. But in I Am Batman, he had just got the suit, which was 6 years later.
And then the very next issue was all this shit with the seer and the magistrate.
Mm-hmm. I don't get it, man. This is why I'm losing
He is
interest.
standing there like he knows these people.
Yeah.
And they are just like none the wiser. Like they're all gonna turn around and be like, oh fuck, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't get it. At least Harley could have said something out of all people.
Be
Like, you
like,
know?
hey Batman. He turns around, they're like, who the fuck are you? Like,
Yeah. You could have just had him in the building in the background, if anything. Like, just had a
exactly.
silhouette of the Batman. Like,
There is no reason for him to willingly and confidently confront these people.
yeah. Yeah, it makes no fucking sense. Also, was that the suit Barbara was wearing in the other book?
Yes.
Oh, looks weird.
It's just
Um,
the art. Yeah.
yeah, but anyways, so yes, we see Miracle Molly crying. Bruce takes his
This is
cowl
when
off.
Bruce takes off the cowl, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, I fucking hate it.
yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, she already knows who he is, remember? Because it's Miracle Molly. She knows
But no,
everything.
no, she didn't. She didn't say that she knew it was Bruce Wayne. She knew that the person in the mask was Batman, and that's why he never showed his.
Hmm.
Oh wait, did he
I think
show?
she knew it was Bruce Wayne. We'd have to go back and look, but I don't care enough to go back and look.
Yeah, I don't care enough either.
Yeah,
Because
but I want to say she knew because we were bitching about that. We were like, for real?
I think there was a wait. You know what? I think at the very end of that issue, he took
Yeah,
off the mask and said, "Oh, because I know the city because I'm Bruce Wayne," type of
yeah.
thing.
So essentially, they have a heart to heart, and he says, I'm not sure I'm right either. There's not much in the world I am sure of, but I do believe. Essentially, that he believes in the people of Gotham. And she was like, I want to believe too. And then he hugs her like a daughter would hug a father. And then there's a little flower that popped out that
That's
spells the end.
yeah, and it's supposed to
And
represent like hope or whatever.
yeah, and then it says next, around the world and back again. So this is how Tynan goes out.
Technically,
He,
no,
this isn't the final issue?
no,
What do you mean?
because not next week. Let me see. Not
This is
next
his
week.
last Batman issue, isn't it?
In I
I know we're
believe
getting the annual.
the 30th is Batman Fear State Omega because we got Alpha. This is
Mm-hmm.
Omega, and I believe this is written by Tynan as well. Yeah,
Whatever. This is his last Batman one, though.
yeah. This is the
Uh,
yeah.
well, fuck. Still, last Batman. Because what's his name is writing 118, right?
Yes,
And that is not bi-weekly anymore.
I don't believe so.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, James Tynan, we'll just assume this is his last issue because there are probably some one shots we don't know about. And we know he's still writing he's part of the vampire stuff, so he's not out of DC. But I think you know what? I want to say that he came in with a whimper and left with a whimper, but it's not true because I had hope at the start. I genuinely had hope for him at the start because he was doing like the different Batman gadgets that got old really quickly, but he did that one issue about the Joker killing the designer, which the designer wow, I forgot about him. Could have been amazing.
Yeah,
The designer could have been amazing. And like that is the one thing that Tynan did. Tynan showed me what could have been and took it all away. That's what he did. He's like a politician. He gave me all of these fancy things that he said he could do and didn't deliver on it. That's James Tynan is writing on Batman. Because you know what? Some politicians have done some good things. You know what I mean? And that's his creative writing. That's the good stuff. But his Batman stuff is
oh
the fucking
shit.
corporate greed bullshit that we get from every politician. That's what I'm going to say. Because I said it. If you go back and listen to those old fucking episodes, I said the designer could have been as big as Hush. And he fucked it up by making it the Joker.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, that's so dumb. So dumb. And then after everything after that was just fucking letdown after letdown. We thought Harley was going to be a big player after Joker War. Didn't even see her. Then we got Ghostmaker bullshit with Clown Hunter bullshit. And like, I know aren't we getting that Clownmaker, not Ghostmaker one shot next week or some shit?
I think so.
And it's just like, it's so, I don't know, man. There was potential there, and I don't know what happened. And maybe it was the rumors of him not having a contract and him just writing week to week. But I don't know. Tweaks here and there could have made this run so much better. But unfortunately, I'm ready to move on to the next thing.
I'm looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no Ghostmaker.
On the one shot?
Yeah, no.
I could have swore I saw Ghostmaker on something like that. But yeah, I don't know,
Oh, you
man.
know what? Hold on. No, because even when I look at Detective, that's not a Ghostmaker. Did they take it out?
No. I'm pretty sure I'm uploading one right now. But for the most part, man, like I don't know. I wish James Tynion all the success going
Oh, no, no.
forward.
So it's on the 30th, not next week.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the 30th.
Okay. But yeah, I wish him all the success going forward. But I'd be lying if I said I'm not happy that I'm happy that he's gone off of Batman.
Yeah.
But you know what, Tynan? Joshua Williamson could fuck up more than you, so you have that to hold on to, because it hit or miss with him as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
we'll see how that goes. But that is going to be it for this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Clay, what do you got going on this week?
So this week, guys, if you check out DC Alliance, like I said, if you want to hear me complain about The Flash, I am going to be reviewing that. We are going to be talking about a little bit more in depth of what we were talking about here with this Barry actor possibly being the Joker. When this airs, I think Juice is going to be able to push this out either on Friday or Saturday. If you're listening on Saturday, there is going to be an episode of a show called A Walk Through the Multiverse, where me and one of my very good friends, Joe, talk about a Kyle Higgins book called Radiant Black. I think it's one of the best indie comics that is out there right now. Go check that out. And I also talked about the lack of Star Wars content over at Star Wars Alliance this week. They had zero production or presentation on Disney Plus Day, which I was absolutely livid about. And you can hear me. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Disney
Edit that
sending in
out.
the snipers right now. They're like, you fucking say anything about us on this podcast, we'll fucking kill you.
I know.
Jesus.
Just go listen to that if you want to hear me complain about all that. But that is it.
Nice. Yeah, guys, you guys can go check me out on my YouTube. That's essentially what I've been doing a lot lately. Come by the live stream. Some of you guys have, and I appreciate you guys that have come by the live streams. I usually stream on Fridays. I do say that just hit that notification bell on YouTube for always on, so you'll just get notified when I drop anything on there. You will be able to check it out. I've been posting a lot of different content. I'm trying to crack that YouTube code. So if you guys want to help out, definitely go, check out some content. If you want stuff that's not video games, the reaction stuff, I've been doing a lot of commentary about just a bunch of random things. So definitely go check it out. But yeah, for the most part, that is going to be it. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. And remember, Batman is awesome.
News Weekly.